Welcome back to Becoming Limitless, a show about wellness, well-being, healthy aging, biohacking, and anything in between. But perhaps the segment of it that excites me the most is speaking to local entrepreneurs in this space, people that are making a difference in this space. There's so much happening right now that it's important to highlight individuals that are making these incredible ideas come to life when it comes to the wellness and well-being space. And today I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by one of my favorite people, perhaps. Ever since we met a couple of years ago, he consistently proved to me that his generosity is without bounds. I've seen him help people in all sorts of different situations and always generous with his time and his advice. He mentors individuals into an entrepreneurship. He is a serial entrepreneur himself, a health nut, and more importantly, he is an ultramarathonist also. So you may have seen him. Once you see him, you'll see what I mean. He's done the 777, the 7 marathons in 7 Emirates in 7 days. And now he's planning something even more crazy he will hopefully tell us about. And among many other things, he's also building the first proper, before anyone actually talked about it, social wellness retreat or hotel. He'll describe the concept properly for us. I want you please to welcome Louie. Thank you so much for joining me.
What an intro. My favorite part of that was health nut, though.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's true, right?
It is true.
Yeah, it is true. So the journey that you're on is incredible, and I've witnessed like bits and pieces of it, and we've done things together about, in different areas. But I'd love everyone to know a little bit about your journey, because I know that you've been through a lot, and like the stories, and even with other people that I've had on the show, there's always a story about how they got into a place where they're a lot more aware of their own health. I know that you have a special one. I know you had burnout, you had from a very heavy nightlife type situation and background, and now into vegan still, yeah?
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. And the health nut that you are. Can you just give me, I actually don't know. So do tell me a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so I guess for as long as I can remember, I have been an entrepreneur. So I left school when I was 16, set up my first little business teaching football. Over the next 10 years, that was football schools, events company, nightclubs. And I got to my mid-20s, and as much as I ticked off all of the material success that you were supposed to have to be happy, I found myself both unhappy and unhealthy. And this looked like chronic fatigue, burnout, and everything in between. At that time, I had a recruitment company in the city of London, and I was doing nightlife in the evenings, 5 days a week. So drinking far too much, eating restaurant food 3 times a day, training, but half-heartedly.
Right.
And from a psychological perspective, very much chasing external validation through the material success that I was having. It took getting to the lowest of lows, not being able to get out of bed, to really make a change. And I eventually quit everything I was doing, moved back home to my parents' house. I went whole food, plant-based, went all the way to the other end of the spectrum on alkaline forming foods and detoxing and stopping drinking and everything else. And when I realized how good I could feel, I wanted to share that with others, and that started with food. So the first business in this space was a plant-based, mostly organic restaurant. Grew that to multiple locations. Then started working in venture, investing in other restaurants and brands, investing in other companies. There was angel investing in the space. And then most recently building, in the process of documenting the build of a wellness-focused hotel and members club in the British countryside. I've been in the region for 3 years in between with restaurants and stuff here as well. So yeah, it's been It's been a whole journey.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And I've seen you sort of do events in a way that unlike anything else, in the sense that, I mean, there are so many events, but the way you do it is that it's always involving community. And you always give space for people to showcase what they have, which then it becomes a win-win-win type situation. But also with that requires foresight, and you've had that ahead of everyone else. You opened up, a lot of opportunities for people to kind of showcase what they have, and as a result of actually some of the events that we've had together, I began working with some of these brands. We either sell them at Restore or we became personal friends, and so it's amazing how these small opportunities they can grow and flourish into something a lot more. And especially when they start with the right seed, with the right intention, there's so much that could happen from that.
We can't heal in silos, right? Yeah. And I think one of the things I noticed at the start and what's prompted me to want to create this space is that once we go on this health journey, if our environment isn't supportive of that, we have to remove ourselves. And when we feel ostracized and removed from a community, we're lacking our social health. So as much as we can be improving our physical well-being, without community, it's empty. You're potentially healthier when you were drinking and partying and around lots of people.
Yeah.
So community is incredibly important. And the gap that I saw with the hotel was that you would go away to these retreats or you would go to a clinic and you would have a very individual experience. And when you came back to your community, it would be difficult to integrate that.
Yeah.
And I think the paradigm shift that we need is that the foundation of socializing needs to prioritize health and well-being at its core.
Yes.
So that we don't have to compromise our health in order to satisfy our social lives.
Yeah.
And these are the spaces where many of us do compromise our social lives. We're healthy when we're in the gym. We've set up our home in a certain way. The food shopping that we do is healthy. You're ticking all the boxes. But then, you have to go into this space that isn't supportive of health in order to socialize and have community. That's where we need to fix. And that's what I'm really focused on at the moment.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that because I generally say to people is that, there are certain things you could do about your environment. So for example, perhaps the most accessible would be your bedroom. What you could do at night. You're in the room, you could control the environment, you could clean the air, you could make it dark, you can make it cool, all of that. So you control that environment. There are a lot of times that you cannot. You cannot control the AC that we're sitting in right now. There are other stuff that are continuously bombarding you, and your body is dealing with it. And then, so I say to them, there's certain environments you could control, others you cannot. So in a day-to-day life, my recommendation would also be go on the inside, work on your own immunity, work on your own health in order to offset all these environments that you should be part of. But then obviously you quickly realize early on, ahead of everyone else that, in my circle, realized that mental health plays a crucial role in our wellness journey. You knew from when you did this excruciating event, doing 7 marathons in 7 days, that it took a lot of up here to get you for you to finish. And the same with almost everything else in our lives. And being part of a supportive community, being part of a place where you don't feel shamed because you're going to bed early, or you don't eat something particular, or you don't drink, or you don't smoke, or any of that stuff, because at the moment, unfortunately, it still exists that someone looks at you that you look particularly healthy. There's either envy or kind of like a ostracized, like he cares about that a little bit more. I always openly say that I'm antisocial because I go to bed early. I mean, I've accepted it because it's at the end of the day, it comes down to priorities. And what I love what you're building with the space, and you tell us a little bit more about it now, even the name is amazing. And I've seen some pictures, and people can follow you or follow the page that you've created for it. They'll see how beautiful it's going to look. You're creating a place based on that community is key for our health. There are lots of places here that we see that they call wellness social clubs and things like that, but they don't really hit the mark. It's almost like using the old frame of mind of how we see a social place or a spa, and then we're trying to merge them together in a sense. It's not working. But the way you've thought about it, you've taken every part of your journey, even stuff that we've talked about, and stuff that you've seen from equipment and other stuff like that, or devices and technology, and you're putting all of that, plus food, plus soil health plus environment plus social. And that's really what is exciting me. And so from day one, I said, like, I'm so looking forward to be the first person to be there. So, and I know you're going through a lot at the moment, but it's going to be so worth it.
I think, thank you. I think wellness and well-being are words that are thrown around a lot at the moment. And it's great, right? Like, how amazing that in 2025, the level of interest in this space is where it is. First and foremost,
It's an awakening, right?
It's incredible, right? But I think we have to define it, and different places will define it in different ways. And through that definition and that philosophy, we'll be able to attach to spaces that mirror our own philosophy. And so when I think about wellness for myself and for our space, I think about it in terms of connection. So connection to the self, which is our mental, our emotional, our physical well-being, being able to tune into that. Yes, wearables are great, but can I be embodied and tune into how I'm feeling and what I need? Social health, which is connection to others. Do I have community, support, supportive friends, people that I can converse with, discuss ideas with, play with? Play is important, compete with, competition's important. Do I have other people around me?
Yeah.
Connection to nature, incredibly important.
Absolutely.
Incredibly important. So connection to the natural environment. There's a physical benefit, there's an emotional benefit, there's coming back to that. And then connection to something higher. And this may be God, it may be purpose, it can be whatever that is to you, something beyond yourself. And we think about these layers of connection, we can make decision using these as guiding principles. So when it comes to alcohol, for example, I could say, well, alcohol gives connection to others, but does it give connection to self? No, it disconnects us from self. So that's a non-starter, right? But to your point, if I was to take a conventional social space, a bar, let's say, and I just removed alcohol, because you don't have a catalyst for connection, people are going to be in the lack of confidence that they usually experience prior to drinking. And then therefore we're not going to have connection.
Yeah.
So we need to think about catalysts of connection to take place of the alcohol. Now, is that how the space is curated, designed? Is it the beverage menu that's maybe adaptogen-based? Or is it a host bringing people together? Is it play? Is it games? Is it ritual? What is it? And these are the questions that we're asking in the creation of this space. I think the layer underneath that is that we live in an age of, as Darren Olian says, fatal convenience. And it is fatal. All of the things that we've created, many of the things that we've created to make life safer and more convenient are actually toxic, either to the human body or to the human spirit, right?
Of course.
The ease with which we can access almost everything removes the challenge that we would have experienced and the challenge reward mechanism that we have internally. So it's coming back to, how do we leverage technology to keep us safe and healthy and well, but how do we also have some experience of the things that make us be human, like challenge? And you alluded to the 7 Ultras, 7 days, right? Voluntary discomfort is essential, because if you can train the mind, the body to be resilient to discomfort of your own choosing, when discomfort that is not of your choosing shows up, you're better prepared to meet it.
100%.
If you insulate yourself in a bubble, when that challenge shows up, which it invariably will, you will be less resilient to that challenge. And it's the same as you said about environment. We need to be exposed to a certain level of toxicity in the environment to train the system, but we don't want to be overloaded.
Yeah.
We need to be we then also need to recognize the need for detoxification. We need to make sure our detox pathways are working. These things have to be considered and built in.
Yeah.
And the safer and the more comfortable the environments we live in, the more that we need it. And 100%. God bless Dubai. It's an incredible place, but you do have to go out of your way here to take care of your health and your well-being.
Yeah.
You have to work at it. It's anywhere now, quite frankly, but you do have to work at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to work at it anywhere.
Yeah.
But here maybe particularly more because of the ambition, the drive, the opportunities, the limelight that you get distracted with. But also what I found here that is particularly challenging, I think for a lot of people, is because wellness also happens in your brain, right? So your thoughts are part of your wellness journey. So the more you are judging others, the more negative your thoughts are. It's like poison that's being kind of spread out your whole system. The way we drive here sometimes, you know, we don't realize that we're not only harming ourselves, but harming everyone around us. The traditional look of wellness used to be a lot more narrow. What you've gone and done is that you've said, no, there's all of this. And we can create a little playground for that, where your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health are all more or less being catered for one way or another. And I think that's what's going to be an incredible game changer. And that's why I am incredibly rooting for you. So the next bit that I really want to share with everyone is the stuff that you do to stay healthy, because I know that you are very particular about what you do. I know you're an avid and passionate runner, obviously. But what else do you do for your own wellness? What works for you? I know that no two people are the same, and it's all about balance and all of that. Now, having said all of that, what works for you?
So foundationally, I think the most accessible thing that I do, well, again, as you said, it's individual, right? However, I think foundationally, stress management is probably the number one thing. And many people say sleep, but I think stress management is directly correlated with sleep.
Exactly.
You can't sleep well if you're stressed, right? So stress management is number one. I would say management of stress. There is good stress, right? So resistance with weight training, with running, whatever it may be. We have good stress.
Even for functioning, you know?
For sure, but a steady state of stress through the day is not so good. So how do I combat stress? Breath work, meditation, journaling, talking, putting on certain music that brings me into a state. So managing my state, my internal dialogue, being intentional but not attached.
But you also do that through running, don't you?
I do indeed.
Because I see, I see you when you run. You're very intentional about what you do. Like you're in the zone when you're running. You're not like you're running and you're very like in tune with what's happening.
It's a moving meditation, right? So I think intentional. So I think I would like to go here, but I'm not attached to the outcome.
Right.
And this is my daily narrative in my head. It's intentional, not attached. Intentional, not attached. Stress management, sleep, exercise. When I say exercise, I've probably been pretty good at strength training and running, power, probably less good at mobility, flexibility, which is something I'm really working on.
Which is almost everyone.
Almost everyone, but that's something I'm working on.
It's just less rewarding, that's why.
Yeah.
So people kind of put it at the end because you don't get the same high that you do from
But it's the foundation.
else.
It's the foundation, and I've been building on a not so great foundation.
Yeah.
And then diet for me. I was vegan for 10 years. Last year.
That's interesting because you made a change recently, didn't you?
I'll explain. I've never spoken about it either.
Okay,
so I was vegan for 10 years.
Yeah.
Last year, I did a DNA methylation test, and it showed that genetically, I'm not the best person to be a vegan because of how I folate, B12 issues, absorption issues, etc. My functional doctor was on my case to incorporate some animal protein for a long time. I said I'd give it a go for a period of time, and I did it for a year. Still organic. I'm super meticulous with food. Almost always home cooked, organic, nutrient dense, etc. When I ran my bloods again, I'm also quite analytical, so I want to see the blood work. I compared my blood work vegan versus eating animal proteins, and what I found for me personally was when I retested after eating animal products for a year, my B12, my vitamin A, amino acid profile, even testosterone slightly, had marked improvements, but my inflammation, my liver function, my cholesterol all went the other way. So where I've settled on is using my methylation pathway results and my most recent bloods, a really stringent supplementation program for the things that I can't get from plant-based foods.
Right.
And then I'm 100% plant-based, nutrient-dense live foods with the macro targets that I need, which for me is around 180 grams of protein a day, 250 to 350 carbs, 80 fat, with the support of about 18 supplements a day, and peptides we can go into as well. I'm
Yeah.
obviously doing peptides and stuff as well. So that's kind of the nutrition setup.
Yeah.
That's your baseline, right? This, sleep, stress, diet, exercise. This is.
But you did it correctly.
This is your
You
baseline.
tested,
Yes.
understood what's happening,
Yeah.
and then made adjustments accordingly.
Correct.
So I see people on a daily basis going here, peptides, going to while they still don't have a proper workout routine.
The thing with the peptides is that, these are all bonuses, right? It's without the foundation. Are you getting sufficient sleep? Which again, you can track. Is your nutrition supporting the health outcome? Again, you can measure.
Yeah.
Are you training and recovering to the point where you have sufficient energy and making
And
improvements?
recovering, so important, right?
Right.
How many people do you know that are under-recovered?
Oh, a huge amount. And there's a narrative in the ultra running community, which I'm part of to some extent, which is, I'll just go again,
Yeah.
keep training, keep going. And people get injured regularly because they're not taking the time to recover in between. What I've actually found with the ultra running, which is interesting, is I don't need to run the distances that I used to run in training. And I'm finding that I'm running between 60 and 90K a week, which as far as ultra running goes is very low, but I'm performing better than ever.
Yeah.
I'm doing more cross training. I'm taking more time on recovery. I'm doing sauna every day. I'm using compression boots. I'm using red light. I'm doing regular massage. And all those recovery tools are essential to be able to go again.
They're just as important.
You're not getting adaptation from the training. You're getting adaptation from the recovery.
100%.
So
100%.
Recovery it has to be a big focus.
Yeah.
And this is the foundation. All the things you hear, like peptides, like infrared, all this additional stuff, is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
It's not where you start. And I think we can have a mindset often of, I want the quick fix, I want the hack. But without the boring foundational stuff, this stuff can't work as well. And quite frankly, you're just wasting your money.
It's not just wasting your money. It could be even harmful.
It could be harmful.
There's a lot of them that may encourage cancer cells.
Yeah, well, a hormonal peptide, for example, without running a hormone panel,
exactly,
is not advised, right?
Only because someone else has mentioned it or whatever.
Right. So it's the in word.
It's at the end of the day, it's education, and I think to summarize in one word everything that you're saying is balance. And this is where people get it wrong almost every single time. And I'm sometimes guilty of that too, and I'm sure that you think the same. It's balance between workouts and recovery. Balance between, the amount of stress that you put your body on and how you help it to kind of deal with that. Balance within the mind, balance within how you deal with people, the exposure, and everything else. Everything is balance.
I was speaking on this recently because what I think is really important is we can often look at life in the context of either the day that we're in or the infinite kind of timeline that we have. But what I found to be helpful is to look at things in seasons. So I've accepted that for the next 3 months, I'm going to be completely out of balance when it comes to work, training, family, etc. Work at the moment is 90% of my time. So understanding that, if I was to go out and then try and train how I normally train, I would be even further out of balance.
Yeah.
So we have to look at our priorities at different stages of our life. Looking at how a professional athlete trains, what you're not aware of is they're doing those sessions that we can all find online now. And they're training 2 hours a day maybe, but they're recovering for 8 or 9. And whilst they're recovering, they're not thinking about anything else.
Yes.
If you're going to your session at 6 a.m., training 6 till 8 and going to work and working a 9-hour day, even though you're not physically moving, your brain is occupied, and that has an energetic requirement.
100%.
It's taxing in itself,
Yep.
right? That's additional stress. I've learned this the hard way because I'm currently training for a race in 4 weeks, and I'm doing pretty high distance for me. I'm doing a high training load, and I've got a really high workload.
Yeah.
So at the minute, I'm completely out of balance. It was terrible planning on my part.
Yeah.
But I do like to look at things in terms of, okay, this season, this 3-month period is like this. How do I try and think?
And you're aware of it. Most people aren't,
Yeah.
right? They don't realize until it's too late, or your body breaks down, or your body forces them to do something about it. You have a plan. And this is what I say to everyone. Have a plan. There's so many things that you do in our lives that are completely planned, and they are, as far as priorities, they're like down here, you know?
For many of us, we wait until we get sick, right?
Yes, exactly.
Especially when it comes to health and well-being. We wait until the point we're sick to do something about it. my wish for everyone is that they could feel what feeling limitless feels like. And this was my biggest change and biggest motivation from being 25, 26, struggling to get out of bed in the morning, needing 2 coffees to function, feeling mentally exhausted and drained all the time, feeling angry, aggressive, reactive, having bad relationships. Everything that we do is dependent upon how we feel in the body. Even mental health is so closely correlated with physical health. If the vessel feels diseased, in a state of dis-ease, everything else becomes more challenging.
100%.
And I just wish that, my wish is that we have access to this information and this way of living, because it is a lifestyle. When you go to that place and you can come back into balance and give the body what it needs, everything else becomes better. It's not just how you feel, it's your relationships, your friendships, your social life, your business life, your work life.
The choices that you make,
becomes easier.
the choices that you make, the decisions that you make that impact, because we're all about micro decisions, right? This is what a collection of life is like, it's a collection of these decisions. So we don't realize the impact because we're always thinking in silos, like particular points. This is amazing. So I just want to finish off with 2 things, please. I'd love, because we generally have not had this conversation, I'd like to understand, or your view on the wellness revolution that is taking place in this part of the world. I'd like to see what you think about that. But also I want to get an update on, first of all, I want everyone to know what the name of the place that you're building and an update on it, please. All right, let's start with the wellness in this space here. What is your opinion on it?
I love the UAE for many reasons, but one of the main reasons is it's incredibly entrepreneurial and incredibly collaborative. And whenever you have that in a space, innovation happens fast.
Yes.
There's a big well-being community. You've only got to walk down Kite Beach on a Saturday.
Yeah.
There's people running, there's people doing yoga, training, walking, swimming. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And we spoke about the importance of environment. When you're around people that are doing that, you take that on as well, right? And there's people doing some amazing things here. There's great brands coming out of the region. There's a lot of investment going into it. People are genuinely interested. And I think the more people that are interested, the more of a market there is, the more investment comes in, the more opportunity comes for everyone. Yeah. And the bigger we build the collective pie, the more everyone eats. Yeah. And so my view on how things are here is I think it has the UAE has the opportunity to be a world leader in this space, health, well-being, longevity, etc. So I'm really excited. And I think
we're well on our way. We're well on our way.
Yeah.
Everyone is looking at doing something here, no matter what. If it's an older brand, new brand, in order for them to make it, they need to have something here.
Yes.
The only thing that concerns me a little bit is the commercial side of it. So everyone is trying to rush into a point where we were just talking about balance. Things take time. Your gut doesn't heal overnight. All of that stuff, and that these hypes of take this peptide and your life will be better. This kind of. I mean, it happens in every space. But when you're talking about health, you want to be a little bit more careful about talking about things as if they are the end of all.
I think the grassroots events are really important, right? The events that you've been a part of at PXB once a month, it's small groups, 50 to 100 people, 5 or 6 people speaking, grassroots, information, experience-led, where we can have these communities and have these conversations. What worked for you? How did you find that? Yeah. This is what's important, that we're sharing information, right?
So differentiating between what is commercial and what is true information, because it's all about education in this.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So tell me about, I'm not going to say the name, you say it, tell me.
Okay, so Long Lane is
I love the name.
Thank you, is a wellness focused hotel and members club. It's set on a 55-acre country estate around an hour from London. It's a 250-year-old house that we're converting into a wellness Disneyland, basically.
They should check it out. The design you've done is on point.
It's this balance of the ancient healing modalities, practices with the modern longevity technology. So we've got an organic farm on site where we're growing all the food, full closed loop system, composting back, improving the soil life on site. We've got a precision nutrition restaurant, so all of our members will go through a methylation test when they join, and the food they see in the restaurant will be specific to their genetic profile. All the rooms are biohacked, 8 sleep mattresses, red light panels in the walls, all natural materials and products throughout, completely mold-free, etc. Most of the land is woodland, so forest walks, sweat lodge. We've got state-of-the-art gym, contrast therapies, longevity clinic with 6 treatment rooms. So yeah, it's both, you can be a member, you can also be a hotel guest and not be a member.
You're making me smile on the inside and outside.
Yeah, it's basically
it's
the space that I wish existed.
Exactly,
is what we're building.
That's
and I guess
exactly
the beauty of it is that, it's far bigger than me or my partner. And what's been so amazing about this project is we put out a video 3 years ago saying this is what we're going to build. And I mean, neither of us were in any position to build this. And over time, what's happened is gradually through documenting this process on social media, people have come to us and said, hey, I'll help, I'll invest, I'll support, I'll help you find the location. And over time, we've managed to raise most of the capital, bring on board advisors, etc., just through telling this story. Our membership's going live in November. The site will open May next year. And then the idea is proof of concept, stabilize the first location. The ambition is to bring it here. And in fact,
that was one of my questions.
The last few weeks, I've had a few people reach out to me in the region. I'm in Dubai once a month, right?
Yeah.
I spend half my time here, so people are reaching out and saying, "Hey, like, when are you bringing this here? I'd love to experience it here."
You
so
should,
that's the
sure.
So that's the ambition, right?
Essentially, I don't think there's anyone better positioned than you personally to bring that here because of how what you bring to these things, and not just another entrepreneur.
What I'll say on that is that I know like this much, like this much.
We all do, right?
Right.
But we don't always know it.
People think they have to know everything or they have to be this person, this expert to do something. What I've learned through this process is I sit on these Zoom calls with like all these experts and I'm like, I don't know what that acronym means. I don't know what that means. But the role is to bring the vision to life and bring people together that can make it happen. We don't have to do things by ourselves.
Of course.
So maybe you're dreaming of starting a brand of this or a space of that. The vision, the motivation, the drive, the taking the action is the differentiator. Then you can bring in the resource, bring in the people to make it happen. I'm not an expert, but I have a vision for what I want to create and the belief that I can, which is pretty much what you need, right? I'm not going to be the one that's doing the longevity programs or designing the gym or designing the restaurant per se, but I want to bring together the people that are.
The people that can.
So I think very often we can feel disempowered. We can feel that, how could we do that? I mean, let this be evidence of that. My business partner and I had never done anything like this before, certainly not at this scale. So I think it's really about intention and bringing something into existence that is going to help people. I think that's the most important thing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Keep going, please. Yeah. And just one more question. Are you still looking for investors?
We're almost closed.
Okay.
Maybe by the time when this comes out, we may be closed by the time this comes out.
Okay.
We've raised just over £5 million so far.
Okay, amazing.
Raising 6 million total, which I tell you is not easy when you don't even have a visual of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And you're pre-revenue. This has been the hardest part of the whole process.
Of course, yeah.
Not just the raising the money, but then aligning investors on the same terms, making it fair for everyone, getting the people to sit on the same. It's been a real, it's been a spiritual experience, should we say? So
I think people can easily find you.
Long Lane, join Long Lane on Instagram. I'm Louie_Blake on Instagram.
Amazing. No, we'll add those also. Thank you so much for making the time. I know your time is very, very precious, especially when you're here. So it's always great to see you, and thank you for making the time for being here. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. See you next time.